Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's forget the dry textbook chapters for a second. Today, we're actually building a practical toolkit of management skills. Stuff that will help you land that first internship, get promoted faster, and make a real impact no matter what your major is. Let's get right into it. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with why management should even matter to you, especially if you never want to be a boss. Then we'll get into what a manager actually does all day. After that, we'll stock your toolkit with 4 essential functions, list the exact skills to make your resume pop, and finally, we'll sketch out what your entire career journey could look like. All right, so why should you care about management? It's simple, really. For the next, 40 years or so, you're going to be working inside some kind of organization. Whether you're leading the team or you're part of it, understanding how it's all managed is like knowing the rules of the game. And that's the difference between just playing and actually winning. The management guru Peter Drucker put it perfectly. Managers are basically the engine of society. Seriously, they're the ones guiding the companies, from that cool new startup to a global giant that create the apps you use, the food you eat, even the shows you binge watch. They literally shape the world we live in. Okay, that's the big picture stuff. But let's bring it back down to earth. What does this all mean for your bank account and your career path? Let's talk about the real-world payoff. Now, let's be real for a sec. This data is a little old, but the idea behind it is timeless. Leadership skills are incredibly valuable. Reaching the top of that management ladder comes with some pretty significant rewards. And that whole journey, it starts with the fundamentals we're talking about right here, today. But that path isn't the same for everyone. And it is so important to see the whole picture. For instance, data consistently shows this major salary gap between men and women in higher paying jobs. Understanding challenges like this is the first step for you as a future leader to actually be part of the solution and build a more fair and equitable workplace. So let's get past the fancy titles and the paychecks for a minute. What does a manager actually do all day? What is the core job? At its absolute core, management is a process. And the key thing to get here is that it's not about doing all the work yourself. It's about achieving goals through other people. That's a huge mindset shift, right? It goes from me to we. Just think about the CEO of a company like Coca-Cola. Their job isn't to be in the factory mixing the soda. It's to set the direction, say, shifting the whole company toward healthier drinks, and then to combine all the resources and motivate thousands of employees to make that vision a reality. Okay, it's time to stock your personal management toolkit. These are the 4 essential functions you're going to use all the time in any industry for your entire career. It really breaks down into 4 clear steps. Think of it like a road trip. First, you plan. You decide where you're going. Then, you organize. You pack the car with everything and everyone you need for the trip. Next, you influence. You get everyone excited, put on a great playlist, and start driving. And finally, you control. You're checking the GPS and the gas gauge to make sure you're still on track to get to your destination. And if you ignore any one of these functions, well, it's pretty much a recipe for failure. The most common mistakes line up perfectly with these steps, like making plans that are way too risky, or being a quote-unquote manager who doesn't actually lead anybody. It's a constant balancing act. So, we've just covered the functions, which is the what you do. Now let's talk about the skills, which is the how you do it. And this is the part that moves from theory straight onto your resume. First up, technical skills. These are your hard skills. Think about the specific stuff you're learning in your major right now, whether that's coding or financial modeling or some kind of lab technique. These are the skills that get your foot in the door for that first job or internship. Next up, we have human skills. A lot of people call them soft skills, but don't let that name fool you. The most important thing to realize here is that these skills, communication, empathy, teamwork, they're absolutely non-negotiable at every single level of a company, from your first day as an intern to your last day as CEO. And finally, we've got conceptual skills. This is your ability to kind of zoom out and see the big picture. It's about understanding how that group project you're working on doesn't just exist in a bubble. It connects to the company's bigger strategy and its place in the entire market. This chart shows you exactly how that focus shifts over time. When you start your career, maybe at a supervisory level, your technical skills are absolutely key. But as you climb that ladder, your reliance on them goes down, and the need for those big picture conceptual skills grows. But notice the one constant, human skills. They're always, always essential. So let's just boil it all down. If you want a checklist of what employers are desperately looking for right now, this is it. Communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. If you can walk into an interview and show that you have these skills with real examples from your classes or part-time jobs, you will absolutely set yourself apart from the competition. All right, let's zoom out one last time and map out what a full 40-year career journey might actually look like. Because it's not just a straight line up. It's a series of distinct stages, and each one has its own focus and its own challenges. Your career is probably going to follow a path with a few clear stages. Most of you are right here in the exploration stage. You're figuring things out, learning, trying on different hats. Pretty soon, you'll move into the establishment stage, where you start to climb and really make your mark. Later on, your career will hit a maintenance phase, before eventually entering the decline stage as you get closer to retirement. But you have to remember, a modern career doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? It's shaped by these huge social shifts. As a future leader, you'll be the one navigating these new realities, from creating systems that ensure women have an equal shot at the top jobs, to building flexible policies that actually support dual-career families. So there you have it, the toolkit and the roadmap for your career. We've laid out the fundamentals of modern management. Now the question isn't just what will you build, it's what's the very next step you can take? Which of these skills are you going to focus on in your next group project or your summer internship? Because that's where the building really starts.